Right, here we go. Here's Simon Easterby.
Reasonably quickly in this part of the world in terms of where those sort of where the systems can travel, and we are playing here against Samoa on Saturday until we're otherwise informed, and that's how we prepared all week and how we're still preparing. To be honest, we may know more later on. We may know more a little bit more tomorrow, but as far as we're concerned, we're planning to take on Samoa here in Fukuoka.
Size-wise, is this the strongest squad that you've been able to pick from?
Yeah, I think it was only Geordie who has done really well to recover, and he's done a bit of running today and yesterday, but he's the only one that has missed out on training, and he hopes to train Thursday, so we're in pretty good shape at this stage.
What are you looking for from Saturday?
Well, a win would be the first and foremost. I think there's certain elements in our game against Russia that we'd like to think we could have done better, but we have to be prepared to deal with a real physical Samoan side, a side that have shown in parts to be really good, and they'll want to finish the tournament on a high and feel like maybe they haven't quite hit their straps as we feel we maybe haven't quite hit ours, probably since the Scotland game and maybe the first 20 minutes of the Japan game. So there's so much to play for. There's obviously the potential of a World Cup quarter final for us to play for, and I think at the moment we're just thinking about getting our house in order and making sure that we perform to our best, and we have to deal with a physical and abrasive and very talented Samoan team to do that.
What's your mentioned that the basics just weren't there for the Russian game and possibly the Japanese game, that what Ireland has exacted themselves on in previous games they were missing. Has that been something you've concentrated on in the past week?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think there's always elements to your game which you feel are fundamental to success, and I think some of those things we didn't get right in the latter part of the Japanese match, and then in large parts of the Russian game. I think the conditions will hopefully be a little bit better. I know it doesn't always look like it from the stands or from TV, but it was tough going, and you've seen other games played there, the England-USA game, and I think the Samoa and Scotland game. There's a lot of handling errors in that stadium, and the conditions were difficult to play in. But I think we can also be better at the fundamentals of our game and make sure that we get our set piece right. It starts from that, and make sure that we get quality ball, both sides of the ball. We have a real crack at them when they've got the ball, but we've got our fundamentals in place when we have the ball, so that we can get on the front foot and we can put them under a lot of pressure.
Simon, how does this current pack stack up against the two packs you played in at the 03 and 07 World Cups?
I'd love to be playing in it myself, to be honest. It's it's a good mix of brawn and brains, and I think these days players they expect more. They want to know more. They've got a bigger capacity to learn and to kind of learn and have knowledge of things that they're doing. Why are they doing it? What's the rationale behind it? Maybe in the past when I was playing, we weren't quite as informed, or maybe we didn't ask as many questions. But I think that puts a real challenge for us as coaches, me and Fiki in particular up front. It's no 2 days are the same. We've got a great bunch of guys who work incredibly hard, but they also are smart and they want to know. And once they've got a good understanding of things, then they'll grab that and run with it. And that's what I like about this group. There's a real good competitive nature as well, and that's Irish through and through, isn't it? But in this group, there's a real good competitive nature. Scrum session today was it was tasty. There was a little bit going on in there, and that's what you want. You need those types of sessions, and you need that competitive edge. And this 4-pack, I think, has that.
Is the challenge the same as it ever was? We're going to come up against bigger, stronger teams that are supposed to be able to overpower us.
Yeah, I guess we've always fallen into that bracket maybe, and I'd certainly like to think that because of those elements of smarts and understanding and the knowledge, you've still got to bring the physicality, and you know, no game is won without that. So we still have to be able to have an emotional edge and the ability to play at a level that physically can beat teams, and we've done that in the past. We haven't done it every week, and that's a challenge for all of us to make sure that we're in the right place. I think this week feels different. It feels like we've had a couple of days after we played Russia, had a couple of days off. The players had a chance to refresh and recharge their batteries, step away from the sort of rugby for a couple of days, and yesterday and today training's been good, and there's been a real edge. And I think that's something that you feel like that there's a little bit of a change in the mood as well in the group.
Simon, as a pack, obviously, some of the guys will return to the starting team, well, this year from the Japan game. So, as a group, then will they feel like it's their chance to, put some things right? And if you channel the frustrations in the right way, could we see the best performance of the tournament so far from them?
You'd like to think so. I think Johnny said it sort of last week. There were a few elements that we didn't quite get right. I think our scrum has been good, and I think that's been effective weapon. We've had a couple of more opportunities that we didn't quite nail. One for a penalty against us for sort of disconnecting, but we had a good setup. We had some good outfield mauls where we got a little bit of success at sort of changing the picture a little bit in defence. So I think if we can bring all that together this weekend, along with the quality ball carrying, the quality work in the contact area on the attack side, then I think we'll find we'll hopefully find a different animal on Saturday. But Samoa won't just roll over and allow us to do that. We know, and we've seen how tough they can be in large parts of their games, and that presents a challenge in itself. So it's going to be physical. We've got to be at the right place emotionally, but we've also got to have our smarts and our sort of game understanding that allow us to get through those periods when things don't go our way.
Simon, Ian was just saying a moment ago that Ireland had greater success against Scotland because it's a style of play that they're used to playing, that when Ireland come up against a style of play that they play themselves, they have greater success. Is that something you go along with?
I think you naturally have you have more familiarity with the Scots. You have more familiarity with teams from the Northern Hemisphere. So I guess in that sense, someone like Samoa presents a slightly different challenge in that they can carry, they can offload, they can pull something out of the bag which maybe we don't see quite as much of in the Northern Hemisphere. So yeah, I guess in that sense it poses a slightly different challenge to maybe playing against another Six Nations team who we play more regularly, as opposed to playing a Pacific Island team who are very dangerous but also very physical.
Sorry, just finish up, Mario. Have you got any concerns about the pitch? The last two games it's cut up pretty noticeably, and obviously there was been wet weather and potentially more rain to come. Is that a concern?
Yeah, no, I mean I think we have looked at that, and I think it's very little you can do about that, but it's certainly something that we're aware of. The training pitch we're on is also a little bit is cut up a little bit as well, so maybe that's good prep.
In the World Rugby, can you?
Not that I'm aware of, but I think after every game, I think there's sort of reports go in, and if there are any issues, then the team that potentially is playing in that venue will raise them prior to that beginning of that week. Now, we can't do too much about that. If we stay in Fukuoka and we play here, we have to deal with the conditions that will present themselves, and I think both teams have to play on that pitch. So let's hope that it doesn't come and impact the game too much.
Okay, folks, we'll switch into